All right, we're all fresh off of 8 straight NBA playoff games. Nobody's gotten any sleep. Jack's up till midnight anyway. This is Pastor Rock.
Hey yo, could one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian.
Yeah.
Posting like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
flying to see the pilot.
Yeah.
Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of lefties, from football to racing Jeffy. He goes silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock.
Woo.
Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo partner, pass the rock, for real.
All right, I know everybody watched way too much NBA basketball this weekend. 2 quadruple headers. There's really nothing better. Now we get into the weird NBA TV action tonight with Orlando and Cleveland. So tell me 2 things. Tell me, how are you doing, A? And B, are there any series that are already over in the NBA playoffs? Zach?
First of all, I'm doing pretty good getting to that finals week crunch time. Got to lock in, finish out the school year. But I can certainly say that I feel like I am more locked in than the Orlando Magic were in Game 1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is a series that I think I could already confidently say is likely over. Now, the Magic are a team that I was excited to watch, and I think they did put up a good fight. But they're clearly a year or so away from really contending, and I think this Cavs team is going to be able to beat them with fairly in like 5 games fairly easily.
All right, so a 5-gamer out of Orlando and Cleveland. Jack, to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick in the Eastern Conference here. I'm doing good, by the way, in case you're wondering. But I think this Celtics Miami Heat series, man, like I didn't have a lot of hope for the Heat as soon as the Jimmy Butler injury happened. But I just that game was a beating. It was close in the beginning. The Celtics ran away, and that felt like one of the better games that the Heat might play in this series. I didn't think they had much of a chance from the jump, and I think Game 1 pretty much proved me right. So I'm sorry, Miami, but this isn't the year.
All right, Jesse, you got to follow up that bold take that the Celtics Heat series is over. What's your thought?
My take on the Celtics Heat series, by the way, is this series is so over that the Celtics should rest Jason Tatum for the rest of the series. They don't need him to beat the Celtics, and you're just risking him taking another hip check from Caleb Martin that I will admit Drew Holiday pushed him into. But I'm just going to say they don't need Jason Tatum to win this series, and they should just honestly put him on ice for the rest of the series. You don't need him. Don't play him more than 25 minutes if you have to. The Celtics blew a 20-point lead and still won by 20 in this game. Like, it was unbelievable. But I would also say I think that this Timberwolves-Suns series is over. And I know that it's going to go farther than you think. And no series with Kevin Durant on the other side is really over. But if the Wolves can play like that every night, I mean, locked in on defense and Anthony Edwards, the confidence through the roof, I think that there is zero chance the Suns win this series. I was blown away by Anthony Edwards in Game 1. It's exactly what I think is going to happen for the rest of this series. And the Suns are just a problem waiting to happen. And we're finally seeing the seams come loose and everything start to fall apart. So that series, it might take 5 or 6 games, but it's over.
Yeah, so I'm glad somebody else went on the Western side of things. I'm going to say Lakers-Denver is over. You got the best game maybe in Anthony Davis's career, and it still wasn't, it wasn't a one-possession game at the end. The Nuggets have shown up. They're ready for the playoffs, and here we go.
You were never going to get those words out of my mouth, but I'm thinking the same thing.
That's fair. That's fair. I figured.
I'm surprised you didn't take the D'Lo approach. If all the shots that we missed just start going in, we can win this thing.
Says every losing team today. By the way, the home team's 8-0, which is kind of crazy.
That's a Tony Romo quote right there. Man, Jim, if they just made all the shots they missed, they would have won. It's like, thank you, Tony Romo.
Thank you, Tony. Go take a nap. All right, let's go on the other side of the thing. Which of these series do you think is most likely to go Game 7, Zach?
Yeah, this might be the obvious selection, but I'm going to go with Mavs Clippers. I know, Game 1, Clippers did win by 12, but I mean, honestly, this is a series that I expect to go back and forth. I'm not too surprised that the Clippers won at home. I think there's still so much left to be seen from this series. I think it could go to Game 7.
Jack?
No. I think I'm going to go Knicks Sixers. It was a really weird game one. A lot of big swings. Like Philly had a really good first quarter, just an abomination of a second quarter that probably lost them the game overall. But they came out really good in the third quarter. And then in the fourth, the Knicks came back on again. Like these are two teams that show that they can throw punches back and forth. Obviously, the Knicks took game one. It only ended up being a 7-point game. But in a game with that many swings, I think that's a preview for a series that's going to have a lot of back and forth swings. I still am in the camp that this goes 6 or 7 games.
Jesse.
I'm going to say Pacers Bucks, and it might not have looked like it from night one with a commanding win without Giannis in the game. But Giannis is still, his status is completely up in the air for game 2 and even maybe 3 and beyond that. So the Pacers had the Bucks number all season. And if the main reason, honestly, is because we got Glenn Doc Rivers at the helm. And any single time that Doc Rivers has a lead, it's never safe. They could be up 3-1, and I would still tell you this thing could go 7. So for the main reason of Doc Rivers being behind this Bucks team, I'm saying that this is going to go 7 because you just never know. But I also think that the Bucks have a little bit of room to like not rush Giannis back since they won game 1, less sense of urgency. So maybe, they give up game 2, then it's 1-1, and the series goes 7.
Yeah, I think, and Halliburton's got to get off more than 5 shots in a game for that to happen. But agreed 100% that series is all over the place. I did not expect a Dame 35-point first half or a Dame 0-point second half. But what a crazy start. I'm going to go Wolves Suns. I disagree that the Wolves are going to end it quickly. I just think they're too young and the Suns have too much experience. And I think there was so much energy in that game. Both that game and the Pels Thunder, I thought, had the most energy just all throughout. And so I think that 3-6 matchup in the West is going to be classic. And I think we're going to come down to game 7. So which we all would hope for. So, all right, here's the big one. What is the biggest what if in the NBA playoffs this year? So you got to take a take. You got to have a take ready. You got to have some excitement and some passion because it's what if time. And normally I would start with a Philly fan because their entire lives are what if, whether it's positive or negative. But I'm going to start with Jack.
I mean, look, based on game 1, to me, it has to be what if Zion was healthy for these New Orleans Pelicans, because that game was competitive. It was a grinded out game against, you look at the Thunder, who are obviously an incredibly young team, but have been the best team in the Western Conference throughout the regular season. And this Pelicans team showed they're not going to go down without a fight, even without Zion. Now, would I say they're going to be the favorites to win this series? Definitely not. I mean, obviously the Thunder took game 1. It was a very, like 90s style gritty game. But I think with Zion Williamson, the Pelicans would have had a legitimate chance to win this series. And I think this game proves that. I think the result of this game, the way they were able to stay in it without their best player is unbelievably impressive. And not to mention that Brandon Ingram is playing his second game in, I don't even know how many months it was, or maybe third or fourth. I don't know what it is, but not very many games. But I think with a healthy Zion Williamson, this Pelicans team would have had a real chance to take out the number 1 seed to win this series. So that has to be the biggest what if for me.
Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest what if would be if Brandon Ingram could hit water from a boat, what would happen? But, we don't know what's going to happen with that. My biggest what if of the playoffs so far is if Julius Randle were healthy, I think the Knicks would win the East. And I know that he's not the biggest presence on, defense or anything, but he's another 24, 25 points a game that the Knicks just so desperately need off of Jalen Brunson's shoulders, that he could just play at such a higher level without having to shoulder the entire offense for this entire series. It's going to take a lot out of Jalen Brunson. He's probably going to have to score like 250 points in the rest of this series to keep them alive. Like it's a lot on his shoulders, especially when the other guys aren't making their shots. And, Philly's a good defensive team as well. And, Kyle Lowry's a pest and Tyrese Maxey's a pest. And, they don't have Pat Bev anymore, but still a lot of good guys on that team. And I just think that Julius Randle, he might not be like the difference maker night in, night out, but that extra 25 points a game is so crucial for the Knicks that they can let the other guys focus on defense and let Jalen Brunson make a little more. And the Knicks are already so good being, the 2 seed in the East that I think with Julius Randle, like they could go 7 with Boston. They could go 7 with anyone. So That's my take. I think the Knicks, they're still really good, but they could have been even better.
All right, Zach, you've had a couple of minutes to stew here. What's your big what if?
Yeah, I mean, I could go, what if DeAnthony Melton was healthy and try to be all like Philly, but again, this might be the obvious what if, but if Jimmy Butler was healthy with this Miami Heat team, I think we'd be looking at a whole different playoff landscape. Jimmy Butler and the Heat the past couple of years have consistently been upset after upset. They have consistently made deep playoff runs when everyone has counted them out. If Jimmy Butler is healthy, we're looking at a much more competitive Boston series. There were Boston fans who were worried about Jimmy and the Heat playing them. They didn't want to face the Heat. They wanted to face the Sixers because they can handle the Sixers a lot easier than they would have with a Jimmy Butler-led Miami Heat team. I still feel like he is the biggest what-if of the playoffs this year.
So I am shocked you didn't go with a Philly one, so I'll go with a Philly one. What if Joel Embiid didn't forget that he's not 22 with that crazy dunk yesterday? Like, no chance of sticking that landing. I don't even know. Like, there were 3 people in the lane. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go off the backboard and dunk it, which was awesome. And then he landed, of course, and, he has Betty White's knees. So it just didn't go well. And he looked up. The look in his eyes was just like, he knew that all of Philadelphia was like, all right.
It's every I'm not gonna lie, that was me, but it's every year. It's every year with this. You had the 1 year where you had Markelle Fultz bang into his orbital bone or whatever it was that forced him to wear the mask and miss a game. Just some kind of screwy whatever. Something always happens to Embiid when it comes to playoff time, and there's always some ridiculous injury or some ridiculous story that comes out of the Sixers. They are so dramatic year in and year out, especially when it matters.
Joel Embiid's got Betty White's knees has to be the line of the year.
Oh, it is. It's a bar. It's not wrong. It's a bar.
And I'm gonna give you one little micro what if. What if the referees actually called a full arm extension push as a push off? Just once, just one time. If you want to be creative and create some space, at least shoulder a guy or hip check a guy. But the full arm extension has to be called. And I'm saying that across the board, not just for my team, for every team. It's just getting a little too much. There's such good shooters that is an inherent illegal advantage when you have a full push off and then get a free shot. But
I agree.
Let's move over. Who is doing the jersey question?
I got it.
You got it.
All right, so we're going to go over to some big names here. So looking at the best sellers this year, can you name the top 10 highest selling NBA jerseys this season? So should be pretty straightforward, but some of these might shock you. So go ahead.
All right. I'll start with who I think has to be top 3. I'm going to guess he's top 3. I'm going to say Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic is actually not in the top 10.
Wow. Okay.
Denver fans are fake.
Dad bod. I mean, you can't wear a dad bod jersey. Come on.
Pulling up to the function in a Jokic jersey is just not cutting it these days. So
fake fans. Yeah. Fake fans.
Yeah. Well, the fact that my beautiful sunshine glorious king was not the first guess is unbelievable to me.
Year 20, whatever it is, and he's still number 2.
Jesus Christ.
I feel like there's enough. There has to be enough LeBron jerseys by now, right? Does everybody still need to keep buying them? I feel like there's enough.
That's not even counting all the ones that were burned in effigy in Cleveland years ago.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I have my LeBron Cavs jersey. Jack, I'm sure you have 3 LeBron jerseys. Jesse, do you have a LeBron jersey?
I have a Miami one.
You have a Miami LeBron jersey, and Brian, do you have any LeBron jerseys?
No.
That doesn't.
Okay, so you know what? Maybe a few more.
Yeah, I guess there has to be a few more printed.
All right, LeBron number 2. LeBron number 2.
I don't think I've ever owned a jersey, an NBA jersey that wasn't a Pelican or a Hornet, other than Michael Jordan. And I did have the Rodman. So I was a Bulls fan.
Well,
so it's
Brian,
only been fans for me.
I can confidently tell you there's not a Pelican anywhere near the top 30, probably. So actually, Zion might be somewhere, but he's not. At least not in the top.
No, 15. I figured. I wasn't going to guess a Pelican. I was going to guess my glorious king, Luka Doncic.
Luca, number 6.
All right. If we're guessing our glorious kings, let's go with Joel Embiid.
He did not make the cut, unfortunately. He's number 12.
Forgotten, baby.
It's a
Forgotten.
down year for JoJo. You know, he got injured. People stopped buying his jersey.
Yeah.
Sixers fans have had enough.
You guys are messed up. You gotta go with the classics. Wardell, Stephen Curry is gonna be number 1, 2, or 3 on almost every jersey list.
Jack's thinking the right way. Who buys the most jerseys? It's the bandwagon fans, and Steph Curry is still number 1.
All right. Then let me go with some more bandwagon action. Give me KD.
KD is actually number 8. Fell down a little bit.
Man, I guess I'm just off my game today. Trying to guess.
On here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 0 for 3 probably. Let's just. All right, I'm gonna say Jason Tatum.
Number 3. Come on, don't gotta overthink it. I thought.
There we go. Jesus.
Think of bandwagoners. You got the Boston Celtics.
I thought I did. I picked the Nuggets and the Sixers. The 2 MVP candidates the last couple of years.
Yeah, but this isn't the last couple of years. This is this season. So this season, think about it.
Terrible.
Okay, well, this might be me going against my own rule here, but there might be enough bandwagons, and I think I read that his jersey was like the 4th best selling in the second half of the year. Let me get Wemby.
It's not the 4th best selling in the second half. It's the 4th best selling all year.
Wow.
Victor Wembanyama. Come on, man.
Good one. Let me go with a big market, a lot of bandwagon fans, and a guy that's restored a little bit of, love in the city he's in. Give me Jalen Brunson.
Ooh, number 15. Just a little too low.
Really? That low?
Yeah.
That felt like a good guess.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good guess. Give me the alphabet man, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The alphabet, number 5.
Yeah, solid.
So you've got the top 6. You're missing 7, 9, and 10.
All right. Big markets, big bandwagons. What do we got here? Jimmy Butler.
Nope. Not in the top 15.
I know the NRA, the members of the NRA have really gotten into basketball this year. Give me John Morant.
Ooh, number 11.
Oh, Lord.
John Morant above Embiid, Jokic, and Brunson, by the way. So,
how do I follow that up?
I did that totally as a joke and would not have guessed he was top 20.
Yeah, so you guys are currently missing 2 in the East and 1 in the West.
Okay, I'm gonna go for the one in the West, and while KD's already on this list, I think Devin Booker might be on this list too.
He's right above him at number 7.
Nice.
Well done.
So does that mean Anthony Davis isn't in the top 10?
He's not. So you have 2 players in the Eastern Conference. Both are guards.
Oh, I gotta guess.
Yeah, I think I have one. How about Dame?
Damian Lillard, number 9. A lot of new Bucks jerseys out there this year. And number 10, Brian?
I'm going to guess. I don't think he deserves to be top 10, but I'm going to say Halliburton.
Not Tyrese Halliburton. You would have thought with the All-Star game there this season, maybe it's a good guess, but not Tyrese.
I'm going to guess my boy, Tyrese Maxey.
That's the correct Tyrese in at number 10, above Joel Embiid. So Maxey is the new jersey on the block.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
Wow.
I mean, I won't lie. I bought one of those Maxey jerseys. I'm part of the problem. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, I respect it. Like I said, I think that there's probably enough Embiid jerseys at this point as well. You can go get the next guy up. Get the young guys some sales. All right, so we're going over to a different trivia now. I'm hosting this as well. So, can you name the 8 players with the most points in a playoff debut in the NBA? So, we go back. The oldest guy on this list is from the 1940s, but it's a big name, and there's some current fellows as well.
Wow. You got a guess, Zach?
I'm gonna go with your king, Luka Doncic.
Luka Magic is number 1 all time with 42 points in his playoff debut against Los Angeles Clippers in the bubble.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, so it doesn't even count, really.
His playoff debut was on August 17th, by the way. That's how you know it's so messed up.
Wow.
What
All
a
right.
great fall that was, though, just to like lock into the NBA playoffs in somebody's like random gym.
Oh, I loved watching the playoffs at camp. Like that's
Yeah,
where at a
yeah.
cottage that summer. It was great.
All right.
All right, number 1, Luca.
All right. Well, you know the golden rule. If you have a question about stats, you have to guess Wilt Chamberlain.
For once, that rule is not true. Wilt
Wow.
Chamberlain, he must have had a lowly 35-point debut or something, because the lowest amount on this list is 36 points. So I guess Wilt did not make the cut.
So you're right. Usually you guess those big names that have scored a lot of points. Makes me think of LeBron. But that Cavs team that when he was first got into the league was not very good, which makes me think he had to score 30. So let me guess LeBron.
Nope. LeBron James, not on the list.
So you said the oldest player on this list was from the 1940s, correct?
1949 to be exact. But yeah.
Crazy. Okay.
The Lakers versus the Chicago Stags was this game.
Oh, well, you're saying the Lakers. That kind of narrows it down.
He could have been on the Stags. You never know.
There's only one player, one really notable name that I can think of from that era of basketball, and that's George Mikan.
There's a reason this guy has a drill named after him. George Mikan, number 4. Well done.
Nice.
He could have been a Chicago Stag. You never know.
I could not tell you one name that ever played for the Chicago Stags.
I have never even heard of the Chicago Stags.
So George Mikan, 37 points, comes in at number 4.
Wow.
All right.
We've got 4 guys tied for 36 points below him. And then we've got 2 with 38.
All right. You know what? Let me just guess Michael Jordan.
Nope.
No?
I feel like this is such a random trivia question. Like it could be anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Randoms. I'll give you a few.
Like
years
it could be
from-
Kareem or it could be Drew Holiday. Like like it could be
One of those is right.
I'll go Kareem.
Drew Holiday is not right. It's Kareem. He got 36 points against the Sixers in 1970. Good
How
enough.
awesome would that have been if it was Drew Holiday?
Well, he and AD when they were in New Orleans both had 40-point games in the same game, but it wasn't either of their first.
No. You got 2 players left on this list who are still in the NBA, and one of them actually happened last season.
Okay, I'm trying to think of who made their playoff debut last season. How many players left on the list total?
5.
5.
Anthony
Two of them
Edwards,
are-
didn't he debut last year?
He might have.
That's not
OKC
bad.
maybe, and Shea. Or did OKC didn't
No,
make
no,
it?
they didn't
They
make it
lost
last
to
year.
Minnesota.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anthony Edwards is a solid guess.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go with Anthony Edwards.
It's not Anthony Edwards.
No.
It's okay, guys. We tried. It's what matters. We tried together. We worked together.
Okay.
I duped you into that guess.
But
It's
how about
fine.
Sacramento, right? They made the playoffs last year for the first time in a long time. Can it be like De'Aaron Fox? Or Sabonis?
De'Aaron Fox is correct.
There it
38
is.
points. He is
Nice.
the second highest all time behind only Luka Doncic.
Wow.
Tied with someone else, though. So, fun fact, actually, Anthony Edwards, I'm looking at it. I think he had 36 points in his first game in the playoffs last year, but I'm not sure about the year before that. But either way, he would still be tied for 5th. So, shout out Anthony Edwards. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox, number 3 or number 2, tied.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so a couple names left on this list. 2 of them are extremely random. I'm not gonna lie. One of them is a Hall of Famer for one of our favorite teams, and the other one is just legend who's still in the league today.
Hall of Famer for one of our favorite teams. So which Laker is it?
It's not mine. It could be Dr. J.
Could be.
Could be
Dr. J had a late NBA first game because he played in the ABA for
Yeah.
a while. I don't know if that matters.
That's true. That's true.
You can dupe us into another guess here.
So I will give you Dr. J scored 36 points in his NBA playoff debut in 1977. He had played in the ABA playoffs before that, but this is NBA debut. So Dr. J tied for number 5 with 36 points.
Boom, Dr. J.
Guys, I'm doing all the heavy lifting here.
That was the legend of one of our favorite teams. So
All right, so and then there's a current player who's like a legend as well.
this is a current player who did this in 2009. So they've been around for a while.
They're still in the league.
I mean, I feel like one of the
You know what?
that is Kevin Love.
Not
That's
Kevin
good.
Love. That's a good guess.
You know what? Literally like an hour ago, I saw a TikTok about someone ranting about Prime D Rose. So I'm gonna guess this is Derrick Rose.
Your TikTok is on a different level because it's absolutely Derrick Rose. He had 36 points against the Boston Celtics in 2009.
Shout out my For You page.
All right, so you're missing number 8 and number 3. I don't think you'll know either of these names, to be honest. Number 3, New Jersey Nets in 1979. He scored 38 points against the Sixers.
19. Who do I
This
know?
guy also played in the ABA before that, though.
Oh, I was going to guess Larry Bird, but
No,
For the Nets?
oh, I didn't hear the Nets.
he's
I
on the
heard
Nets. New Jersey Nets. This
I
guy
missed
is
that. I missed
actually.
that
I
detail.
honestly never heard of this guy, but maybe I'm just a casual. He averaged 17.5 points per game in his career. 2-time ABA champion with the New York Nets. New
Right.
York Nets. Wow.
This is not someone that I know if he played in the ABA, and I'm not actually sure what years he played. But when I think of old New Jersey Nets, a name that comes to mind is Derek Coleman.
No, it is not Derek Coleman.
he's much later. He was in the
Much
90s.
later.
Yeah, he was 90s, but still a good guess because I don't know my Nets
This
history
guy is
either.
one of the most basic names you could possibly have in sports.
Joe
Like
Smith.
a Mike Smith.
It sounds like Joe Smith, but like 2 different names. But yeah.
John.
John is the first name. We can get a
Okay.
John.
Okay, John Smith.
No,
John Jackson.
it's not. Comments? Anybody got a guess? It's gonna be tough.
John.
I'm trying to think of who would have been because Dr. J played for the Nets too in the ABA.
John what?
I'm trying to think who would have played with
This
him.
guy,
John
played
White. John
this
White.
guy- no, he played alongside Dr. J on the New York Nets.
Hmm.
Crazy.
John Starks. I don't know. That's also
No.
No,
All right,
that was a Nick. I don't
John
know.
Wilson.
John Will something is his last name. I'll give you that.
Williams, like the conductor.
I don't know if any relation to Zion, but John Williams.
John. Oh my goodness.
I've never heard that
/
name.
New York Nets, 38 points. If you never heard that name, get ready for number 5/8. Gary Brokow.
Who?
The Milwaukee Bucks scored 36 points in his playoff debut in 1976.
That is a name I have not.
This is a name that you guys need to pull out next time you're doing like some trivia. Gary Brokow scored 36 points with the Bucks against the Pistons in 1976.
I wonder if he's related to Tom Brokaw, the old
Brokaw,
NBC News guy.
He could be, and we would never know. So
Old Gary. I bet
Yeah.
you Gary was telling stories about that game for years and years, and people are like, whatever, you never played in the
Yeah.
NBA.
They're looking to his grandkids, and he's saying, I scored 36 points back in 1976 in my debut. So shout out Gary. I'm sure that you probably have never been mentioned on TikTok outside of this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go watch some Gary Brokow highlights.
Yeah.
now.
What do you know about Gary Brokow? All right, that's all for NBA. Let's move on to NFL for today, shall we?
All right. Big moment this week, Thursday night, round 1, NFL draft. So the question on the board is, are you a best player available guy, or are you for the best fit for your team? So your team's up. They're picking, somewhere in the middle of the first round. Best player available or a best fit for your team? Jack.
I am always the best player available guy. To me, if you're drafting based on need, that's something you do in day 2 of the draft or day 3, day 2 at the earliest. But in the first round, for sure, you are taking best player available if it's me, because if you're drafting based on need, that's how you catch yourself reaching, and that's how you end up with busts. That's how you end up seeing the fourth best quarterback in the class, pushed up towards the top 5. Not naming any particular names, but I think that's where you get yourself into tricky situations. And I feel like a lot of the time when you see a team that drafts just best player available, that pick tends to work out. And one example that comes to my mind is when the Bengals took Jamar Chase 5th overall. A lot of people were saying they should take Penei Sewell in that draft, which I'm not saying would have been a bad pick. But I don't know if you're telling me the Bengals are in the position they are today if they don't take Jamar Chase there, even though that technically wasn't a need for them. But best player available certainly works out in that situation. It worked out when the Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb. That's another example that comes to mind. But I think generally speaking, best process to take best player available.
Anybody a best fit for your team?
I'm all about I'm all about best fit for your team personally. And I feel like Jack is kind of underestimating how these GMs operate. Look, the positions that they put themselves in, whether they trade up or trade back, is to get the guy that they want based on the fit for their team. They're not just drafting the best player available willy-nilly. Look, the Bengals, yes, they drafted Jamar Chase, and some people consider it a misfire saying, oh, we need to get Joe Burrow some protection. They also needed weapons for Joe Burrow, some top-end weapons for Joe Burrow, and they got that for him. Like, a need doesn't necessarily need to be like the number one thing that a team needs to have. It can just fill a role that the team wants to be filled. So I feel like every team basically drafts by best fit for their team. It just depends on the circumstances on how you view that fit.
Ooh, I could go either way on this one. It's so tough. I think I would personally say I would go with best fit because I think it doesn't matter if you have an outstanding player. If the scheme that they're in doesn't fit and it doesn't work, it's like that meme of when you have a Bentley outside of like, you know, an old rundown home. Like, sure, you have a nice asset, but you pick a star wide receiver, it doesn't work out for your team. You ship them off for like a day 2 or day 3 pick in a couple of years down the line and you're back where you started. Like, I think that, yes, if you take best player available, at least if it's not a good fit, they have some value. Because if it's the best fit thing and then they suck, then you're kind of screwed anyway. But a good player that doesn't fit in your scheme is just, it's pretty much worthless. You're just buying yourself 2 or 3 years until you have to try again. So I would, as a guy who came up in the Patriots system where it's all about how all these puzzle pieces fit into it, I would say you go with best fit. But also, if I'm the Patriots now, I want them to take Marvin Harrison over Drake May or J.J. McCarthy because you just take the best dang player available. Don't waste it on a quarterback. So I would agree with Jack that you shouldn't reach because of it, but I would also say just because they're a good player doesn't mean it's going to work on your team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jack on this one. I think it's best player. And part of it is the emotional damage I carry every day with the Saints drafts the last 5 to 6 years, where they throw in extra first-round picks to trade up and get a defensive end that doesn't pan out and that we're just licking our wounds for 3 years. Get the best player available. This isn't the NBA where I think that's a bigger question because you only have 5 starting spots or 5 finishing spots at the end of the game. And so you want that fit to work out. But in the NFL, you can make it all work. You can scheme for you can do smaller schemes for those players to work out. I think you need to take the best talent. Players make plays, baby. Take the best one. All right, let's do a little players make plays.
Need that on
all right,
t-shirt.
let's do a little NFL redraft. So we're going to throw every NFL player back into the pool. And you have the number 2 overall pick. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes went number 1. Who do you take at that number 2 slot? Going to you, Zach.
I thought long and hard about this question, but at the end of the day, your franchise revolves around your starting quarterback, and I'm going to go with the 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson, 2nd overall in the NFL redraft. I really thought long and hard about this, but honestly, Lamar provides so much to his teams. I think he's a really solid 2nd overall pick. And again, I seriously think you can go 10 different ways with this question. You can go 10 different ways and be correct in some asset, but you're looking at a guy who's throwing for 3,500 yards and rushing for 700 plus yards a season. He's contributing so much to the Ravens right now, and they keep building around him for a reason. He's won 2 MVPs for a reason, and it's not like they've been like back to back or anything. He did it his 2nd year in the league, and he's done it his 6th year in the league. completely different leagues, pretty much in the times that he's won those MVPs. I think it's a very solid second overall pick. He's only, he's 27 years old. He's entering his prime. I feel like we can still see some better years from Lamar as well. But to me, you gotta lock up that franchise. You gotta lock up that franchise quarterback, and I think Lamar at second overall is a pretty solid pick.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
a tough one.
Andrew,
That
You
is
got
a
one,
tough
Jack,
one.
or
yeah, I can go next. Sure.
I got one
I mean,
if you're not ready.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I like Zach's thought process. I think you are right that you have to take a franchise quarterback. I don't think you can go with a different position, but I wouldn't go with the same guy. And mine might be a bit of a risk because there is an injury history, but I think it might be a lot more based on his situation. It's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL. He's the second best player in the NFL. I compared him in the draft to Aaron Rodgers from the waist down and Tom Brady from the waist up. He is the prototype of an NFL quarterback. I think that he is going to be he's still getting better. He's still not at the peak of his powers, and he's pinpoint. He drops dimes. He's got a hell of an arm. I don't know how that's not the guy that you want running your team if you can't have Patrick Mahomes.
The glazing comments are going to go crazy on the TikTok clip.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree with Jack. I was about to say Joe Burrow. I think if you can't have Patrick Mahomes, you take the one guy who's beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and that's Joe Burrow. And yeah, he's coming off an injury, and he had a bad injury before he even got going in the NFL as well. But if we're assuming all these guys are perfectly healthy and Lamar's had his own injury history as well, I got to go with Joe Burrow as well. He's been a nonstop winner since he left the womb. And I just think that he gives me the best shot over anybody to win a Super Bowl. He's been closer than pretty much every other starting quarterback aside from like Brock Purdy and like Jalen Hurts you can make a case for, but Jalen Hurts doesn't have it like Joe Burrow has it. So give me Joey B. Joey Cool.
I have Joe Burrow written down on my sheet as well. And I didn't even have to think that hard. I mean, I think maybe the problem, Zach, is you thought way too hard about this. You should gotta go with the guy staring you right in the face. And I'm
maybe I mean, maybe I did think too hard, but I still feel pretty good about Lamar.
Like a two-time MVP. It's not like it's a nobody.
Yeah,
it's not like I said. I was like, Jalen Hurts is the second. I'm not going to stand here and say that. Like, come on, like
I wouldn't put it past you.
I thought you would have.
No. To be fair, I will argue. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I will argue.
Have a take.
I will argue that the only other quarterback who has beaten Mahomes in the playoffs, or at least outdueled him, is Jalen Hurts. I'm done.
Well, definitely not beating him, as we remember. So, yeah, that means absolutely nothing. I was going to go Joe Burrow, not just because of first of all, Lamar Jackson, 2 MVPs and 2 playoff wins in his career. Okay, so those things are equal. It's Joe Burrow. It's not even close. He's Joe Cool. He's going to smoke a cigar right in your face while his kicker's out there winning the game. All those things that, Jack and Jesse already said about the guy, but he just keeps winning. And that's the guy I want and, leading my locker room. If you can't have Patrick Mahomes. So sorry that was so boring. 3 of us go with one guy, but that one was pretty easy. All right, over to you, Zach. I think you're going to take us through a little ranking situation.
Yes. All right. So we have had 3 teams unveil their uniform redesigns for the upcoming NFL season. We're going to see the Texans one tomorrow. So since we don't have that officially, we're not going to rank it. But from best to worst, rank the uniform redesigns of the Jets, Broncos, and Lions.
Okay.
So I'll go. Yeah, you guys can pull it up if you want, but I'm going to go to Jack. I'll go to you first.
All right. Well, my number one is easy. I think the Detroit Lions improved their jerseys, and I think that's the only one of these 3 I would say actually improved. I really like the new blue jersey for the Lions. I think the black jersey is a really cool alternate, even though a lot of people are saying they ripped off the Panthers black jerseys. I don't care. Those Black Panthers jerseys are some of my favorite in football. So if you want to pick an NFL jersey to replicate, go for that one. So good on you, Lions. The white is not my favorite white I've ever seen, but it's fine. And I think the other two are more than good enough to carry.
What is
so
your favorite white that you've ever seen?
the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Like an off-white, maybe an eggshell?
Obviously, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving on.
Okay.
But no, I think the Lions are certainly number one. I would put the Jets number two. I don't think the Jets changed all that much. I think the changes are not that noticeable to me. But I don't think they're awful by any means. I just am not really moved. But I think these Broncos jerseys are disgusting. I mean, I don't like any of them. I think the addition of the white on the orange jersey looks stupid. I think the white jerseys look stupid. I mean, I don't know. I think they completely botched this, and it's going to come off sounding really harsh, but I think these are some of the worst jerseys that are going to be used in the NFL next year. I think they significantly downgraded from what they had.
No, the Falcons are still around with the gradient.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say I think the Jets have the best. I'm gonna go Jets number 1. I just love a classic and clean look. The blacked out jersey for the Jets is awesome, by the way. And if I was a wide receiver lining up and I see Sauce Gardner in that combo looking at me, I'm just like, throw it to the other side. Like, I'm gonna check out for this play. Like, I'm good. I love the green with the white pants, the white with the green pants. I think those are both a little better than like the full color rush of either way. But Jets super clean. I'll put the Lions second as well. The black and blue one on the Lions looks really clean. I'm excited to see that combination. And I'm with Jack. The Broncos, you have such good colors to work with. And if they just went, I think they're trying to go a little too modern. If you just went a little more throwback, go a little into their history, the Broncos have some very, very nice jerseys from kind of the last few decades. And I don't know. It looks like they're trying to be like a knockoff of the Chargers is what this is. Like, instead of powder blue and gold, I'm looking at navy blue and orange. And it looks like kind of a similar concept. I will say of the Broncos ones, the navy one is the nicest. But the other one's just kind of boring. And just honestly, it's what my biggest problem with a lot of current jerseys is they try to go too modern, minimalist, that the jerseys just don't really have much of an identity, it feels like. So I'm going to say the Broncos are last. This feels like a regressive move.
So the Broncos had such a great opportunity to change their logo on their helmet back to the D with the bucking Bronco from my childhood.
Well, I forgot to add it to the link. They are bringing back the 1977 throwbacks with that classic helmet with the D logo.
They are.
They are.
But I mean, permanently changed from the flowing.
They have not permanently changed. They're bringing back the orange top, gray with the orange and blue stripe bottom with the blue helmet.
Yeah. So I blame Sean Payton, really. But the Broncos have two major issues. Number one, they didn't change the helmet back to the old logo. And number two, all of their socks match their pants, which just looks stupid. It's just like they're wearing a unitard from the waist down, and everything's the same color. And a lot of teams get messed up with this look. You got to have the contrast, which makes it look good, which is why the Jets and the Lions are both an improvement. I actually like the Lions a little better. Just I'm a sucker for Honolulu blue. But the Jets one is awesome. And if I were a Jets fan, I would definitely be buying a New Jersey with the old school 1980s kind of throwback look that they're going to go permanently to. The Lions just cleaned up. You know, they still have that newish lion logo that has a little 3D nature to it. But they just kind of cleaned up. There's not as much like things going on with their jerseys and went classic. So I'm going to say Lions 1, Jets 2, Broncos far 3. I mean, look at that.
This is what they needed to do, by the way. This is the first reply to the tweet of the Broncos, and someone said you already had the perfect jersey.
Yes.
Like,
and like, yeah, they did the one on the left, but they did the one on the right too. Would have been perfect. Yeah.
And look at the socks. The socks are a different color than the pants. That's all you need to do.
I really like. Was it that hard? Was it really that hard?
And I like. You know what's also good about that is the horizontal sleeve stripe, as opposed to the craziness they like to do. Like they had the old jersey had the stripe up the side of the front of the jersey. And this one has some kind of weird triangle thing going on the sleeve. But
well, yeah, I know. Whatever like the strip of white on the shoulder is just awful, especially on the orange jersey. That's the worst one. It just oh my god, it's disgusting.
Yeah. So here's my rankings personally. Number one's easily the Jets. I'm in love with the with the retro throwback, bringing it to the modern day. It translates perfectly. It's simple, but it's extremely clean. We already saw the whites in action last season. They look phenomenal. Now we get to see basically just the same jersey but in different colors, and I already love the jersey. So bringing it to the modern day. They also changed their logo around it. They completely redesigned everything just to go with this throwback look, which I think it looks fantastic. It looks super clean. I love every color combination that they have. Very excited for that look to debut on the field, especially with the green jerseys. Second, I have the Lions. My only nitpick with the Lions is that I don't love how they used the word mark on their white and black jerseys. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I'd rather the numbers just be all the way up. Like, at least the Broncos with their word mark, it's very small and skinny, and it's just a little tagline above. Well, whereas on Detroit's, it's it's pretty big and you can really see that. And some people might like that. I'm not a huge fan, but love the black, love the retro look. They pretty much went with another modern throwback kind of look as well. So I'm a huge fan of that. And then, I'm with you guys. The Broncos are dead last. I don't think these are terrible uniforms. I think they're going to age all right. I do like the sleeve pattern with the kind of the mountain look to it. I think that's an interesting detail. I'm with you guys. No, I don't love the white or anything. I'm saying they have the sleeve cap where it's angled. It's different. It's unique. I've never seen that before.
There's a reason for it.
But I like that they're trying something different. I love the 5280 on the helmet. I love that little detail they added as well. And I love the throwbacks overall, but just the numbers, they're just killing me here. I really don't like this number font. I think it just doesn't look right on a uniform.
It's better than their last one. I do think that's an improvement. The font
it's just weird because it feels like a mix between their old look and more like a block style, and I don't love how it looks right now. Maybe my opinion will change once it's on the field, but right now it's and like you mentioned, the whole sock thing, it looks horrible. I'm very excited to see their throwbacks, but their new uniform set, it's okay. It's
and the white helmet looks terrible. Give me a stripe.
Oh,
give me a stripe.
I forgot to mention, they're the only team to take advantage of these three redesigns so far of using all three helmets. I don't love the white one, but the throwback and the current and the navy, they both look great. So
the white, I don't really like white on white. The only team that has done a white helmet well is the white Bengals helmet. That's the only one that's done it well so far.
So far, we'll see. Awesome. But looks like we're pretty consensus. The Broncos uniform redesign is not good.
Don't just stay tuned. The Texans come tomorrow, and they could easily vault themselves all the way to the bottom. Okay.
I feel like it's hard to mess up red, white, and blue though, but we'll see.
I don't know. I think when you go navy pants, you kind of screw yourself. It's hard to make it work.
So with both the Broncos and the Texans uniforms, apparently there have been thousands of fans with their input into both of those redesigns. They've done study groups, they've involved the community. So that's for both. I think Denver had a statement about that, and the Texans already released a thing about that where it's we had study groups. We had, we visited Nike. We talked to a lot of people about this. So, maybe we should leave it to the teams next time. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm getting from this. Maybe just leave it to the teams. Bring back throwback looks that people already like.
Let the pros work.
Yeah, let the pros work.
All right, Brian, are you up next?
Yeah, I'm up next. We're going to the NFL draft on Thursday, and we've talked about what every team should do, what they might do, all this stuff. I want you to tell me, what do you expect your team to do in the first round of the NFL draft? So we'll start with you, Jack. The Steelers are always right smack dab in the middle of the first round. So let us know where you're picking and what you want them to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways I see this going. I think corner is a big possibility. My dream would be Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's a fantastic corner. I'm just not convinced he's going to make it to 20. So if that's the case, I would personally rather them not go corner. I think Nate Wiggins has some injury red flags. And Terrion Arnold's good, but I feel like that's a little early for him at 20. The other option that I've seen a lot is apparently they really like Brian Thomas Jr., the receiver from LSU. I am a big fan of his. I think he's a really good player. I don't think that receiver is the Steelers' biggest need, but I think Brian Thomas is a fantastic guy, so I would not be mad at all. And then the last way I see them going is offensive line, because it would just be so Steelers to go like Troy Fontenot from Washington or Talisa Fuaga from Oregon State, like very Steelers. But I honestly, I think the way my ideal pick would be Quinyon Mitchell. But I think the most likely pick and the way that I would also be happy with is with Brian Thomas Jr. It's not the biggest need, but I think he's a really great player. And I think putting him with George Pickens will be a really nice duo to move forward for the future. Two young guys, two super talented players. And hopefully you can make some magic happen with the new quarterback room with those guys.
All right. We'll go to Zach next.
Yeah, so I feel like with the Eagles, the number one position that they're targeting, especially in the first round, is going to end up being cornerback. And looking at, who they've hosted as their, as their top 30 visits, there's two names that really jump off to me. One that they probably need to trade up for, and one that they could probably stay put and get around the area that they're in, or like they wouldn't have to trade up as high. The one they have to trade up for is Terrion Arnold, pretty much consensus number one, number two cornerback in this year's draft. And then the one that they could probably stay put or maybe move up only a few spots to get is Cooper DeJean. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with either of those guys. Of course, Arnold is the better prospect, and I think that's what Howie's going to try to do on draft night, try to move up and get Arnold. But if he's taken earlier than expected, or if he goes off on a flyer, it feels like Cooper DeJean is the guy the Eagles are going to be gunning for in the first round. If neither of those guys go, we could be looking at a guy like Chop Robinson, boost the defensive line a little bit. But I think that's pretty unlikely. I think Howie's going to try to get one of the corners that he really likes in the first round.
You can tell you're not from Louisiana because you would have said Cooper DeJean. But
well, believe me, I looked up before this how
so it probably
I know it. Believe me, when I was first looking into him, I thought it was DeJean. It's DeJean. It's not as cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
I was very disappointed when I saw it was Cooper DeJean instead of DeJean.
So the Saints pick 14th. I'll let Jesse go last since he's got the best pick. The Saints pick 14th, and what I really want for them to do is trade up and make a big splash with a quarterback. I think they're too far back, and they're too weird.
Boy, do I have a team for you, Brian.
I know you do. I I actually ran a mock the other day where Jaden Daniels dropped to 6th, and then I gave the Giants our entire season revenue from season tickets and everything just to jump up there to get.
So what? You gave them debt?
No. We sell out our stadium, unlike the Patriots. All right. I actually have no idea if the Patriots sell out their stadium. So as I'm looking at 14, we're absolutely going to have an offensive tackle. It's going to be really boring, and it's the exact perfect decision to make because we have to give Derek Carr, if he's our quarterback, we have to give him time. We have to be able to turn Alvin Kamara loose. So as boring as it is, I say they have to go offensive tackle. There's an outside chance that it might go wide receiver. Or if Brock Bowers, drops to 14, maybe they there. I'd say if they don't have the offensive tackle they want, try to trade back and gain a few extra picks and go with that. But it's kind of a boring spot to be in. And at this point, we need kind of those boring, absolutely essential players like an offensive tackle. Jesse.
All right, I'll give you my pick. Gerard Mayo, Patriots GMs, if you're watching this, please, for the love of God, trade down. If you are not 100% sure, trade down. I personally do not want Drake May. If you guys are 100% sure on him, so be it. Get the quarterback of the future. But sorry, there's no. If you are not 100% sure about Drake May, do not take him. Someone else is willing to take him, and just trade down like 2 spots and take Malik Neighbors or take Marvin Harrison or even take JJ McCarthy. I don't care. Just do not waste the 3rd overall pick on someone you're not sure on. And you can get a lot. We did our mock draft the other day. You could move down to 6 and get 2 more first-round picks and a second and a third and whatever you want. So just trade down. Honestly, I think trading down is the best thing you could do at this point.
There's no part of you that really wants Marvin?
Oh, I would love Marvin. I think you could honestly you could get him at 4, maybe even 5. And if not Marvin, I would rather take Malik Neighbors and 2 first-round picks, than JJ McCarthy or Drake May or whatever else. So I just think
Jesse,
the choices between Drake May or Malik Neighbors and whatever else it costs for somebody to move up that high, take that one.
Agreed.
Yeah. Jesse, looking forward to next year, right? We have a few interesting quarterback prospects available, likely in next year's draft, including Shadur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, and Drew Aller. Is there any quarterback next year that you would want for the Patriots?
I'm not tapped in enough to college football to know that. Come on.
Not over these guys. I mean, maybe over McCarthy, sure, but
over McCarthy, but
you mean Joe Milton? I don't care.
Wait. Which of those 3 are you taking over McCarthy? I don't think I am.
I mean, I guess
none of those guys is like head and shoulders above.
No one's head and shoulders, but maybe Quinn Ewers.
No, I'm not. Quinn Ewers doesn't know how to move. Quinn Ewers,
he's gonna
that guy.
He's gonna lose his job this year to Arch Manning.
Quinn Ewers literally has 2 left feet. I'm sorry, like the guy can't run.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
All right, so we've gone through it. We just talked about what the Patriots should or will do. So call it now. Who are your top 5 picks of the draft? How does it actually play out? Jack, I'll start with you since you've probably done 74 mock drafts.
Yeah, I've definitely done a few too many, that's for sure. All right, pick 1, Caleb Williams. No analysis needed. It's going to be Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears. That's a done deal. Pick 2, if I'm the Washington Commanders, I'm taking Drake May. That's my QB2. I know Jesse won't agree with that. I think that.
Oh, I agree. I want them to take Drake May. Right. Go ahead.
Well, no, as far as being the QB2 in the class, you won't agree. But I personally think Drake May is the QB2 in the class. That's who I would take. Pick 3. And now here's what I'm going to start to get predictive because I think this could go a couple different ways. If I am predicting, and this is the way the board falls, I think the Patriots would take Jaden Daniels. I think they would. I don't think they would take Marvin over Jaden Daniels, even though that's personally what I would do. But I think the Patriots would take Jaden Daniels. Pick 4 would be the Cardinals. And in this case, there's no way they don't take Marvin Harrison if he's there to them at pick 4. I think there is a world where they trade out of it. But if it's 3 quarterbacks in the top 3 and Marvin Harrison's still on the board at 4, I have a hard time seeing them trading out. And then pick 5 to the Chargers. You got 3 quarterbacks off the board. You got Marvin off the board. Someone is going to want to come up for either J.J. McCarthy or for Malik Neighbors. And I think the Chargers can get an absolute haul for pick 5 if they decide to trade it. I think they're going to be very interested in it. So I'll go out on a limb here. I'll say it's the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings use their ammunition, come up to pick 5, and take J.J. McCarthy to pair with Justin Jefferson.
All right. Over to you, Zach.
Yeah, so number 1, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. Like, that's pretty consensus. Number 2, I'm going to say that the Commanders like what they see in Jaden Daniels. It sounds like they're pretty locked in on him. I'm going to say Jaden Daniels goes number 2. Jesse, unfortunately, I think the Patriots stay put at number 3 and take Drake May at number 3. And here's where it gets interesting at number 4 because the Cardinals have made it clear that they are open for business. And I'm only saying this because I think it's just such a giant move They don't need to trade up whatsoever, but I think they're going to trade up to number 4 for just to get their guy JJ McCarthy at number 4. So I'm going to say the Giants trade up with the Cardinals. And then at number 5, the Chargers land Marvin Harrison Jr. to pair alongside Justin Herbert, get that elite wide receiver 1. Right after letting Keenan Allen go, if they get Marvin Harrison Jr. to replace him, that's pretty good if you're the Chargers, which means Cardinals will end up at number 6, probably with Malik Neighbors. And I'm sure they'd be pretty happy with that too. So little extra, I give you my top 6. But that's my top 5.
5 + 1. Jesse.
This is hard. If I'm predicting, it's strictly off of what'll probably happen and no subjective bias. Complete objective list. All right. Number 1 is Caleb. Number 2 is Jaden Daniels. Number 3 is probably Drake May. Not because I think the Patriots want him that much, but also it doesn't seem like, I don't know how many teams have enough ammo to really make a convincing offer to move up that high that really need a quarterback. Like if it's the Giants or if it's the Vikings, but also the Vikings might just be happy with JJ McCarthy or whoever is the QB4 to them. So probably Drake May. I think there's a 100% chance that Marvin goes to Arizona because you just got rid of every other receiver on this team. And then at 5, I think the Chargers trade down a few spots and still try to grab either Neighbors or Odunze at like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range, and let somebody else come up to get a quarterback, maybe even 11. I think the 5th pick in this draft will be Malik Neighbors. I don't know who's going to take him, or it'll be JJ McCarthy. But I'm going to say, for the sake of this video, let's just say the Chargers stick there and take Neighbors. I think they have to. Right. They have to go receiver. There's no way that they don't draft a receiver after clearing house. I mean,
yeah, I actually think the Cardinals are much more likely to trade down than the Chargers because I think the Chargers know they're in a perfect spot. They got rid of their entire wide receiver core they need to replace. So I'm going 4 QBs, then Marvin Harrison. So Caleb Williams, 1, Jaden Daniels, 2, Drake May, 3, and then one of the Vikings, Giants, or Broncos. Okay, the Vikings have extra ammunition. The Broncos have a crazy coach. And the Giants are right there. Trade up to get JJ McCarthy. I think one of them think it's just that important to restart with a new quarterback, and you already have the top 3 going in the top 3 picks. So I think it's a record draft with 4 quarterbacks going all at the top. Then Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Chargers at 5.
Interesting. The Chargers almost, if you look at it, the Chargers have the 2nd pick in the draft. Like realistically, it's like they don't need a quarterback, and the top 3 are quarterbacks. They have free choice of pretty much anybody except for Marvin Harrison. And if they felt so compelled, they could even move up 1 spot if they really felt like there was that much of a difference.
Yeah, to me,
that would be stupid.
Yeah, sorry. To me,
Zach,
go. No, Jack.
No, you go.
Okay. To me, if I'm Arizona, I'm as happy as can be because right now, if I'm Arizona, I'm just fielding offers to see who's willing to give me the most draft stock to be able to secure that number 4 pick. I do think the Giants end up, with that 6 overall pick, the Cardinals don't move down much whatsoever, then probably still can get a decent haul. So I think the Giants are going to probably over offer and get that number 4 pick because they're confident. That means the Cardinals just kind of take the best available trade for them. I think they're happy trading with any of those teams that you mentioned, whether it's the Giants, the Vikings, or the Broncos. But one team has to offer a king's ransom for that pick. And I think the Giants are going to try to go above and beyond just to move up 2 spots. I'm thinking very much like Bears-Niners, the Mitchell Trubisky draft here. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
I just think there's no way Arizona will move out of, like, the top 8. Like, they've been so bad that you just can't keep being this bad without anything to show for it. And especially Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown leaving. Like, if Arizona doesn't come out of this with a new weapon, they should just trade Kyler Murray and, like, let him go somewhere else. And if I'm Kyler Murray, I'm demanding a trade if they don't take a receiver. If they do not take a receiver in the top 10, like, Kyler Murray should just play Call of Duty full-time or something. Like, it's...
I think the other thing we're not discussing is that if Harrison makes it to 4, and he hasn't been picked yet, I think you have the Titans, you have the Bears, you have the Jets that maybe are like, hey, can we get to 4 and get Harrison? So that's another option for the Cardinals to get out, get a couple extra picks, and still there's three really top receivers.
I'm
That's
not
true.
sold on what you just said there. I think the Titans are so locked into Joe Alt. It's not even funny. I think they want the number one offensive tackle in the class. It's Joe Alt. Jesse might want him with that Notre Dame shirt. But no, I think the Titans are locked into Joe Alt. And I think for the Bears, I think they really like Rome Odunze. I think they're comfortable sticking at 9 and hoping Rome Odunze falls into the lap right there, which I think he probably will. He reminds me a lot of Keenan Allen. I think he's a really good mentor for Rome Odunze. That's a disgusting trio to start off Caleb's career. And Keenan's not getting any younger. So you have the future duo set up there with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze for Caleb Williams. I think that makes way too much sense for them.
Yeah, and I think also on top of that, if let's say the Bears don't land Rome Odunze at 9, still Brock Bowers available. If you don't land Brock Bowers or you don't want Brock Bowers, you can boost the defense with either Dallas Turner or Byron Murphy the second. Like, they have a lot of options with that 9th overall pick. They can also trade out of that 9th overall pick and stock up for next year's class, or just trade down in the draft. There's still plenty of great prospects.
They need offensive linemen. They could take one of the 7.
They could. They very well could. The Bears have a lot of flexibility with that 9th overall pick, and I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yep. You know what the Bears are saying? R.I.P. Panthers. Thanks so much.
Unreal.
All right, Jack, you ready to finish this offer today?
Yeah. So let's do a little bit of NFL draft trivia. So both of these two are a bit inspired by the guys in this NFL draft. So we'll start with, can you name the last 10 national championship quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round, which is, of course, inspired by J.J. McCarthy, the most recent national champion, who will be drafted in the first round.
All right. I got one right off the bat. Give me Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, Trevor Lawrence in 2018 was a national champion at Clemson.
Let's go with the guy who came in and saved the game, Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa the year before in 2017 with Alabama. Well done.
Let's go with the guy that beat Trevor Lawrence in the national championship, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow sure did in 2019. Well done.
Yeah, we got like the real obvious ones out of the way.
What about, Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson, 2016. Yep. And of course, the memorable throw to Hunter Renfrow. Couldn't forget that.
Of course. It's a lot of the same teams, just like Clemson, Alabama, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson.
Yeah. You guys have cleared up a lot of the Clemson, Alabama, though. Most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we say Joe Burrow? You just said Joe Burrow?
Yeah, Brian said Joe Burrow.
Trying to think.
Who was the quarterback of that UCF national championship team?
That one doesn't count.
I was going. I just remember
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, 2013 at Florida State.
Wow.
Nice.
I was going to guess Mariota, but he never won a national championship. Yeah.
No. What about all those Ohio State guys? Who was their quarterback the last time they
won like 10 years ago or something?
Yeah.
Didn't Cam Newton won the national championship, right?
Cam Newton sure did with Auburn in 2010.
Yep.
Who's the oldest national champion on this list?
So the
what
oldest,
year?
It's 2004 is the oldest.
Okay.
Oh, Matt Leinart.
That is Matt Leinart in 2004.
Oh, and then you also have Vince. You also have Vince Young. Vince Young's on this list.
Yep, 2005, the year right after.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is who's some of like the Florida ones?
Oh, come on.
Tim Tebow?
There you go. 2008, Tim Tebow. And then the last.
He was the top
one more.
Oh, just the first round. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah, first round.
First round.
No.
One more.
Jalen Hurts was a second rounder, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
Okay, right.
Oh, Mac Jones.
Bang. Easy. 2020 national champion.
And Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
This goes to show you that winning the national championship means actually nothing. And J.J. McCarthy might just be the next Mac Jones. Who knows?
I mean, you've got some successful guys on this list. You got Joe Burrow. You got Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you got some
Deshaun Watson,
Cam Newton, MVP.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
hey, you know what? The fact that Jameis Winston won the national championship in 2013 and is still starting, 11 years later in the NFL, not bad.
People forget about how good he was in college. Jameis Winston at Florida State was an unbelievable quarterback.
He could actually be really fun to watch with the Browns this year too. It could be a fun ride.
Oh
He
yeah,
could have been really fun to watch the last 3 years in New Orleans, but
They'd rather
give him
pay a
chance.
tight end to do his job. So
Oh my god. All right. All right. One last trivia for the day. Can you name the last 10 Heisman Trophy winners to be drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft? And this is, of course, inspired by 2 Heisman Trophy winners that will likely be going in the top 5 of this year's draft, in Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
All right. Well,
how far back does this list go?
2005 is the oldest one on this list.
all right. Well, I immediately think of Bryce Young, who I believe won the Heisman in 2021.
That is exactly right, Zach. Well done.
all right, give me Marcus Mariota, number 2 overall.
Yes, in 2014, Marcus Mariota won the Heisman. Nicely done.
Reggie Bush.
Yep, 2005, Reggie Bush. And I count him on this list because he deserves that Heisman.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa.
Give me, Jack, your favorite quarterback of all time, Kyler Murray.
I don't know if I'd go with my favorite quarterback of all time, but yes, he did win the Heisman and get drafted in the top 5.
Top 3.
Let's go number 1, Joey B, Joe Burrow.
Yep, Joe Burrow. Very easy. Well done.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. We were just talking about him. Absolutely.
Baker
Let's
Mayfield.
go. I was
Yep,
about to say
Baker
Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield.
Nicely done.
Did
Devontae
we
Smith was
say?
outside of the top 5?
Did we?
right?
Did we say? Yeah, he was. He was
Like
10. Did we say Jameis Winston?
Yeah, you guys already said him.
Okay, then how about RG3?
Nice.
RG3. Well done.
Nice.
He won in 2011.
Yep.
Did we say Cam?
You did not say Cam.
Cam
and he's
Newton.
on the list. 2010 Heisman Trophy winner.
Another number 1.
And
Did
the last one
Derrick
is definitely
Henry?
the oldest.
No.
Did Derrick Henry
was
go
the
top
winner.
5?
No, Derrick Henry was like a second rounder.
He was 40 something.
Oh, was he that low?
Yeah.
Interesting.
How are we missing just one?
Yeah, just one.
Is it this is mid late 2000s then?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll give you the year in a minute. Let's see.
Okay.
Like mid late.
All right. Tebow didn't go top
No,
5.
Tebow too low.
I think I got it, and I'm
Wipe
embarrassed.
that smug grin off.
Go for
I'm
it. Go for it.
embarrassed.
Go for it.
Sam Bradford.
It is Sam Bradford.
Oh wow.
Done. Well done. In 2008, he won the Heisman and then was the first overall pick.
What a steal, that guy.
Sam Bradford. Oh.
One of the number 1 overall picks in history.
That's for sure.
Surprised.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Carson Palmer was probably the first guy off the list, huh?
Yeah, he would have been the year before.
He was 2002.
Maybe 2 years, a year before,
Yeah.
or 2 years before. Yeah, I think
You
it was.
have in between that you have Jason White, who won the Heisman and was then undrafted.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Ooh.
Rough 2-year stretch for him, and then Matt Leinart in 2004.
Mickey
And
Mouse
01
Heisman
was
winner?
Eric Crouch, like the
That's
worst
actually
quarterback
insane.
ever.
Undrafted Heisman Trophy
Wait,
winner. is
this guy was
crazy.
at Oklahoma. Okay, sorry. This guy, Jason White, was at Oklahoma from 99 to 04,
Oh.
which
Yeah.
is just insane.
I
And
mean,
then
That's not quite as crazy as what some of these guys today are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Stetson Bennett was in college
This
for
guy-
7 years.
this guy was
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
for 6 years. Yeah.
Isn't there a
Especially
tight
when you
end
get
at
the
Miami
COVID year.
who's been there for like 8 years?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
had like 4 season-ending injuries, and then he had his COVID year. So like, I think
Dude, he could be there for like I think this might be his last year, but he could easily be there for a decade. Like it's crazy.
This is guy the only Heisman Trophy winner to never attempt to play professional football. He didn't even
Wow.
try.
Wow.
Wow.
Eric
got
Crouch
hurt.
or Jason White?
Jason White. It says he got hurt, and a lot of teams did not draft him due to his knee injuries, and that he just decided that he would just call it.
Wow.
And he got embarrassed in the national championship game against the LSU Tigers, but whatever.
Got to bring up the Tigers somehow, eh?
Always have to.
Lots of championships, All
Well,
right,
we got
so,
lots of games coming.
Yeah. You won't see us Thursday because we'll be well, you might, because we'll be on TikTok Live and Instagram Live and all that other fun stuff, but you won't see the show as you normally do. And Jack will be coming back from Europe.
Yep.
So safe travels, stay out of trouble. Don't let the last few days be the ones that catch you, all right? And as Romeo always says, goodbye.
Meow.